Hello everyone, welcome back to another stream on the channel. Game week 4 deadline stream this time around. And it's been a while since we've had a stream, about 2 weeks. Hello everyone in chat, welcome back. FPL is finally back and we are back also. And I hope we're all buzzing. Do let me know if the audio is okay, if I'm too loud or too quiet, or if the audio is a bit muffled. So do let me know. I hope we're all well after the break and ready to get back into the swing of things. Quickly, let me change that timer before I forget. We are currently 2 hours away from the deadline, so that's 1:20. And we're good to go. FPL tough, boss a hill. If you're wondering why I'm looking up, by the way, I've got a monitor in front of me, so John says the audio is perfect. Okay, great. So as you guys know, I am on free hit and I'm looking forward to it. This is going to be an interesting game week because a lot of people are playing in chip. I know Andy activated the wildcard this morning, so you can imagine there's going to be a lot of managers who are going to be doing the same and will be convinced just because Andy done it. In my opinion, not a bad move, not a great move. I think it's one of those where a lot of people are kind of forced to do it. No one's doing it out of, you know, their own will, I guess. Fruit Plug and Freddy in chat, good morning, hope we're well. But yeah, let me quickly keep talking on chip strategy as we look at my free hit team. And then I'll run you through what my thoughts are. So yeah, we are 1.7 million in the world. We had a great game week last week. Let me update chat real quick, sorry. 2 seconds, lads, sorry. If you're wondering, I'm just updating the chat so you can see chat as well. Chat. Alright, sweet, that should be updated now. Okay, so in front of you, I have my free hit 4 team. I really like it, I'm not going to lie, like, I have put a lot of time into this now. I've been looking at other people's teams, and to be honest, I'm happy with my own. I think, generally, in this game week, with chips, it's gonna be one of the highest game weeks this season, in my opinion, because like free hit is being thrown around by a small amount of people. Now that the wildcard is activated by Andy, one of the biggest content creators, and a lot of people are struggling with injuries with Saka, Palmer, still around, and a long international break. I feel like people will be hungry to just pick up some points again. So I'll be interested to see, and don't be discouraged if you're not on the chip if you get a red arrow this week, because if you can get a grey arrow while everyone uses their chips, I mean, happy days. So yeah, we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. Good to see you, Champions Collide, Snacks, Boss, Tough, Tort, Putra as well. But yeah, let me run you through my team, because again, I think it's fairly standard for a free hit, but you can see why I'm doing it. Now, my own team, again, for anyone that watched my own video on my channel, I had double United versus City. Now, actually, I think I'm going to miss out on some points with Bruno and Mbeumo. I'm not going to lie. The whole point of me picking Mbeumo was for the fact that City are going to play... United are going to play on transition, and Mbeumo was great for that. Bruno Fernandes is most likely going to get DEFCON. Now, Bruno will be back in the 10, I imagine, but still, even a game like City, who have one of the highest turnover rates in the league, I could see Bruno easily getting DEFCON. And also with the fact that United usually do quite well versus City, from what I can remember in recent times. So, not going with double United or in my own team and being on a free hit without him, not that I'm worried, but I feel like, you know, Barnes will be outscored by Mbeumo. Again, hopefully the value catches up on me and Barnes is better value. Now, again, just to note, Barnes has had a child last night. If we look up Raptor real quick, Ross posted a leak that he got. Now, it is not confirmed. He had a child last night. That is confirmed. But he got a leak, supposedly, about a potential team. Now, in fairness to Ross, he said that this is just to let people know, take it as you will. He doesn't know how reliable the source is, but there's a chance that this is the full team. And to be honest, I'd rather follow it than not, because there are a lot of people out there who know a bit more than me. So I'd be actually willing to trust it rather than not, if you know what I mean. Now, thankfully, Barnes is in this team. Barnes over Elanga, what's your logic here? So I suppose, first off, Scott asking questions about the job. We'll get onto that later, Scott. Thank you. A lot asking about Barnes. For me, he's one of the lowest owned assets, who are one of the greatest options this week. Barnes is a clinical finisher in my eyes, and I think if he plays, which I'm hoping he does, he can do great versus Wolves at home. And yeah, interestingly enough, Jabba suggests Xavi Simons, which I think is actually a really interesting pick. I don't think he's going to be that player who's going to get goals and assists every week, but I think he's a player who plays with a lot of ego. Where will Xavi Simons play? Left wing or Cam? I think he'll play Cam, number 10. Personally. Hasn't Barnes been in a tough spell? Yes, he always seems to be struggling. Let me pull up his profile and see his minutes. So, 89 in the first game, 75 versus Liverpool, 22 versus Leeds. Yes is the answer, but I think I see him playing this game, and just after having a child. Yeah, exactly, Chicken. Ross does hate shite. So I trust Ross also. By the way, Ross, for anyone who watches him, what a man. I was on FPL therapy with him, and man, the setup and the work ethic from him is amazing. And he's a great guy. It's crazy because you often see us YouTubers and us talking shit on Twitter, but you know, I had the opportunity to meet him, and he's actually so sound. He gets a lot of hate from... He's probably one of the least hated, but there are a few who don't like him, but he is sound. Why not Arsenal in the free hit team? You know what? I think Arsenal are great. I think there's this narrative, though, that Ange Postecoglou is going to go balls to the wall attacking versus Arsenal. I don't know if I see that. That's not to say Arsenal can't score anyway, but... I don't know. Arsenal haven't exactly been firing on all cylinders as well, so I've kind of just went with the budget options in Barnes and Voldemort Voldemorte. Like 7 million for Voldemorte, and it looks like Wiss is out. What's that? 2 million cheaper than Gyökeres. Barnes in. I could potentially put in a Madueke if you like that, but again, I don't love that. Madueke is not exactly going to get goals and assists either. There are probably two options I would like in this draft that I'm missing. Ekitike is for sure one. And the other one for me is, originally I didn't have Virgil, and I feel like he's a must, but I'd love Florian Wirtz. I think this is a great game for Wirtz. A lot of people would have been giving up on him as well. Hey bro, do you know if you ain't on wildcard, if you was to, what would your team look like for the next 6 game weeks? If I was on wildcard, I would... See, it's hard because a lot of people want Palmer back. I would probably just have Salah and Haaland to get ready for 6. And in 6, I probably would sell Haaland. Again, it's not nice to book in transfers, but I think you need Haaland for that game week 6 captaincy, personally. What do you think of the Everton lads? They're brilliant, in fairness. I should probably turn on monetization. Hold on. I forgot to do that. 2 seconds, lads. But yeah, I think, like, in comparison to my own team, again, this is how I decide if I was going to free hit. How many more points is my team now going to make over the one I had? I'm going to say 20 easily. I had 2 Forests as well, which didn't look great. So for me, it was a no-brainer to activate the free hit. And I don't think that there's going to be many other weeks from game weeks 1 to 19 where I'm going to need to use the free hit, thankfully. I actually feel like my team is well set up, personally, to carry on without free hit. Sorry lads, I'm just changing the set. This is so slow, man, come on. Alright, sort. Yeah, but like I was saying, your team's not adding up 0.3, minus 0.3. Yeah, so I have value built up, thankfully, in Cody Gakpo. That's why he's in my team. I have 0.2 build up on Gakpo, 0.1 build up on Haaland. That's probably where you're missing out. So you won't be able to copy this team bar for bar. Semenyo over Voltamade, I don't know if I like that. And the reason being is I think there is a chance that he's on penalties. Where Semenyo, I'd honestly probably rather Evan Nilsson, controversial, over Semenyo. Semenyo has been amazing. I think he's been one of the best players in the league so far this season. And he's due a move in January. But for me, I think in a free hit, I'd chance my arm on Evan Nilsson with penalties. In a week where I can choose penalty takers, I will pick him. And if you look at my team, Salah, Mateta, Haaland, hopefully Voldemade if they get one. But yeah, I don't mind Semenyo, for sure, if you're worried about a start. Thoughts on triple captain Salah? This game week, I don't love it. Did I read somewhere that Salah's record versus Burnley in the last 6 is 0 goal contributions? Is that wrong? Let's look at stat news. I'm intrigued. Let's see. Sarv says, is Enzo a good option? For this game week, not bad. How tall is Yao Ming? What am I asking here? Salah versus Burnley. Cliver's on pens. Thoughts not Evan Nilsson. Yeah, but Cliver is barely on the pitch. That's the issue. Salah versus Burnley. Yes, right. In the last 6 games, no goal contributions. That is crazy. That's a mad stat. Livramento Rea. Livramento and Rea, or Pope and Calafiori. Again, this is close because originally I had Rea in my own team and Virgil down to a Burn. Well, I just feel like a Liverpool triple up is inevitable for me this game week. But yeah, if you were to manage my team, lads, what is the move you'd make? Champions Collide says, hey bro, which three would you start out of? Minoz, Senesi, Gabriel, Anderson? Probably Minoz, Senesi, and Gabriel. Anderson has been... I don't know if you mean the centre-back Anderson or Elliot Anderson. Would you risk starting Palmer over Tarkowski or King? I'd probably play Tarkowski. Do you reckon Ange will play that high line? I don't think so. Not in the first game week. Elanga or Barnes, please. I've got Harvey Barnes, and it's hard for me to convince you otherwise, because why would I have Barnes in my team? Do you know what I mean? Alright, let's have a little scroll on Twitter. I wonder, are we going to get Atten on the timeline today? I feel like after the international break we're due something. So let's look at Rob T's estimated market predictions. By the way, thank you all for joining me this morning. As usual, do hit that like button and subscribe if you're not already. Appreciate the support, and the likes do get us more traction, so appreciate you all, lads. So let's take a look at this graphic. First off, just to note, the clean sheet ratios. Newcastle, the highest expected clean sheet with 46%. Second, Crystal Palace, 44% versus Sunderland. Third, Arsenal with 44% and Liverpool 43%. So for me, and I think this goes, it goes with my narrative for free hit. I've got the best defence in Newcastle with Pope on goal over Raya. Just only 2%, so there's not much in it. But it saves me another 0.5 on Raya. I've got Crystal Palace in Lacree and Daniel Munoz for the attacking threat. Again, 0.6 lower than the Arsenal assets like a Gabriel. For the same chance of clean sheet, if you want to look at it that way. And higher DEFCON chance. And then I've got Van Dijk, who's only 0.1 less than the Arsenal guys. Yeah, I've seen the Barnes baby news. To be honest, I still think he'll play. Thoughts on Elanga? Yeah, I do like Elanga. I don't know what was the situation last game week why they got benched. And next, let's look at the goals. Liverpool expected the highest goal. That's why I'm quite high on Florian Wirtz. I feel like any of those Liverpool assets could come away with a haul. Doesn't have to necessarily be Salah, but I think Salah's due. And it's a good week for me to pick up on him. And that's one thing I feel, as much as I want Ekitike, it's a good talking point. For my own team, I feel like Ekitike is due 70 minutes with Isaac coming in. You know, they'll applaud Isaac onto the pitch, and then he'll score. And Ekitike, he can do damage in 70 minutes, don't get me wrong, but if Gakpo is also due 70 minutes, I'm happy. You think Barnes' baby will play? That's a bit soon. No, you never know, lads. You never know. Hutchai, how have you been over the international break? I was just going to ask whether you think Elanga, Madueke, or Barnes. I'm seeing a few Maduekes. I've been good. I've been tipping away. I've been working. Job is good, by the way. Thank you for asking. Would I go with Madueke, Elanga, or Barnes? If you told me 100% surety that Barnes would start, and I'd pick Barnes all day. St. James Park versus Wolves, love it. Could be any scoreline. Madueke, not great for goals and assists. Again, he's playing for Arsenal now, so he has a chance to prove it, but I don't love it. Grealish versus his old boyhood team in Villa. Again, I don't mind it. He done very well in this first month, but is he going to continue that? I'm unsure. Palace attack or defence? Well, I've gone with defence. I think Mateta is a must, and so is Munoz. Would you start King over Palmer? I would just play Palmer, hoping that he plays, and then get King off the bench if you don't. Saliba in defence or Anderson in midfield? I would go Saliba. Huge problem. One free transfer. Need your honest opinion. Aina, Kuna flagged in my team. Ansar. Ahmed, Verts, Reinders. That's a long list. Cause a free hit, great, but not for a week. I mean, that team isn't bad. It'd be hard to free hit if you already have... No, that is a free hit team for me. On a free hit, do you think Bob is too risky? Man, I had Bob in my old free hit team. I think Bob is great because he lets you do something like Harvey Barnes down, for example. Let me remove Barnes. Bob is only, what, 5.5, or am I getting that wrong? Yeah, 5.5 for Bob. I'm with Tingy out now. He looks great. With Marmouche out. It gives you 1 million to work around with. What would I do with the 1 million? Probably upgrade Anderson to a 5.5 or upgrade Rhea. Or a Gakpo to a Verse if I didn't have value built up on him. I do like that. My biggest decision today is Pedro versus Voltamade. Yeah, that's a hard one, Chicken, because Pedro... I don't think Pedro gets the full 90. I mean, I don't think he... Even with the injuries now, I feel like with Champions League coming up, they're going to be a bit more wary. 70 minutes, Pedro is coming. Regardless of international break. I think he's definitely due a 70. Me personally, as a non-owner, I'm on free hit. I have an opportunity to bring him in, but... So if you're telling me Pedro 70, Voldemade 75, roughly, there's a chance. Again, Osula is still knocking around, but... The fixture is better for Newcastle, for sure. Will Rutter start? No clue, to be honest. I think now he's back from injury, for sure. I know the manager loves him. So, to be honest, if he's fit, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't, if that makes sense. If you were on wildcard, who would you consider? Voldemade or João Pedro? Again, that's a hard one. It's hard for me to sell you a player who's not played a singular game for Newcastle yet. But let me look at Newcastle's fixtures in the long run. It is hard for me to sell you a player like this. I mean, the fixtures aren't good. They aren't bad though at the same time. For 7 million, I think he's great. If he is getting 90s in every game week for Newcastle up top, he's a great asset. It's just we've not seen it yet. The risky one is Voldemade. You could go with Pedro and then move him on. I personally would go Pedro for the safety. Is Mateta captain too risky? I don't think it's too risky. In a game week like this, you know, you could pick up a lot of points with that. And it's a great fixture. I don't think anyone has a team without Mateta. Now, saying that, there's not many teams without Salah, but if we look at the projected points for this game week, I'm fairly sure Mateta's predicted to do quite well. And he's on penalties. Is that Newcastle for the striker they signed? It is. Why no Semenyo? No Semenyo because I have a Voldemade and I think he could do better for 7 million. I think Semenyo is a great option though. He absolutely destroyed Spurs. Why no Spurs? So Barnes comes in at 6.5. Simons is 7. Kudus is what, 6.6. So I'm actually priced out of a Spurs asset right now. Jack says no Semenyo as well. Yeah, Semenyo is quite popular. I'm not saying Semenyo is bad, but I just think Voldemade could be better. Wissa is almost ready and could make Voldemade a bencher. Yeah, I agree with that. When Wissa is back, I don't know what the team looks like. Benching King versus Leeds feels so wrong. Yeah, I mean, it's hard because you look at fixture, but again, King is very young. And, you know, I don't think King is even guaranteed 90s yet, so I'm happy enough to bench him. And just, if Barnes is not going to play, hopefully he comes on. Cheers, that was the thinking with Bob. Looks good with Marmouche out and Foden uncertain. Agreed. And it allows for Gyökeres and Gabriel. Yeah, Gyökeres is not a bad one this week for sure. Long term, I'll go Evan Nilsson. On free hit, would you consider Eze? It's hard. Eze is another hard one because his position in this team for Arsenal. He comes in at a decent price point for an Arsenal asset, don't get me wrong. I just think, is there better options? Like for me, for that price, would you not rather a Kudus or even a Simmons? Simmons is going to play 90s eventually. Maybe not this week. He might get 80. But he's the machine once he gets going. And there's no player like him at Spurs where he's going to pick up the ball from anywhere on the pitch and just do what he wants to do. Frank is going to have a lot of trust in a player like him. So he's going to get the minutes. I don't really see a world in which he doesn't start unless he's not ready tactically. But I think he's had enough time now and he's played like Frank said. Frank said in a press conference that he's ahead of Kolo Muani in terms of starting. So I know they don't play in the same positions. I just mean like in terms of readiness. Ethan says he's having issues with wildcard. You need to get rid of the fourth Chelsea asset before you can make any transfers on wildcard, Ethan. Start Wood or Ndiaye? I would start Ndiaye, providing he's fit. Is Semenyo a long-term option? For sure. And yes, Voldemar is a good pick on free hit. Do I free hit with this team? Lads, it's hard for me to read a whole team. But let me scan through, because you did acknowledge that. I don't think I'd free hit that team. I mean, that's a decent team. If you have a playing 11, I wouldn't. Maliki, good morning. Triple captain is active. Maliki, you naughty boy. Not Captain Haaland. No, not for me this game week. I have an opportunity to bring in a player I don't have in one of the easiest fixtures of the season. I think it's a good opportunity for me to pick up the points on Salah this week, revert back to Haaland next week, even though they have, Arsenal, I'm fairly sure, next week. Thoughts on Muniz for a free hit punt? I don't think his minutes are certain, in a sense where I don't think he's going to get more than 70. Again, that's just me fear-mongering, but, I'd rather, if I think a player's going to play 70, I'd rather that be Voldemar in a great fixture for a better team. Are any defenders worth taking a -4 to remove 8 Nori, or just play Diouf? I would just play Diouf. If you replace Mateta, Ekitike and João Pedro to Gyökeres, who would it be? It would be Ekitike. Due to price points though, I mean, in an ideal world you have the most expensive ones, but best NUFC defender. It was Shar before the team leak. Again, I don't know how reliable the team leak is. But now I'd be tempted with a Livramento. Rutter replacements for 0.7 in the bank. Spacine, it's almost hard not to look at a Xavi Simons or Kudus. Again, I wouldn't double up on the Spurs guys if you already have them, but that's where I'd be tempted. Hoichai, do I start Konsa or off the bench for 8 Nori, or go -4 for someone who I'm starting? Lecree, Munoz. I would take a -4 to get Munoz in. I think Munoz overall is going to be one of the best picks of the season. And I think Munoz this game week could be even captaincy option. I think with Sarro, he's going to get even more advanced, I think. Again, Palace are a bit injury riddled, so I don't know how they're going to set up exactly, but I think Munoz overall, he's getting into some ridiculous positions this season. Alright, let's make a bet. Watkins or Rodgers to score this game week. I'd almost put channel memberships on the line. I just know it. This is what I mean. It's annoying because I'm obviously on free hit, so I ain't got my double Villa boys anymore, but I just know one of them is going to return. Thoughts on Harvey Elliott? Yeah, I do like a Harvey Elliott. I just think it's a bit early for me. I'd like to see what Villa do. Dr. James says, Sunderland are going to get something from the game when everyone has doubled up on Crystal Palace. Yeah, but Sunderland, this is the thing. This is why I've got the Crystal Palace assets. Sunderland can get something from this game versus Palace for all I'm concerned. Daniel Munoz is the most attacking fullback in the league. That's the first thing. Lecree is the highest DEFCON player in the game. If not the highest, one of the highest. If Palace concede, I'm happy to take my 2 DEFCON and my assists from Daniel Munoz. Again, it mightn't play out like that, but I just mean there's a really, really high chance of a clean sheet and there's a high chance of a return, whether that's DEFCON for both of them or an attacking return. So I'm happy to play my chances personally, even if you think Sunderland are going to get something from this game. I can see Watkins getting a goal too. Why am I so confident in Palace? Well, I think Palace have been amazing from the end of last season and towards this season. Even without Eze, they play in a way Glasner has him ticking over nicely. A very good squad, not relying on big players. He has a system in place, whether it's away games, home games. I think Palace look good. Maybe that's just me. But I'm fairly sure that's a common opinion in the community. I could be wrong. Troy, please tell me, who would you think please tell me, will you think Paqueta starts? I don't see why not. Yeah, but Maresca isn't in control of Paqueta. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's a fairly general opinion. And for all the South Americans, like, that would mean also Manoz. Again, I don't even know if he played, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't worry too much, I don't think. Maliki says, as an FPL expert with great hair, would you go Zubamendi to Elliott for game week 5? First of all, far from an FPL expert. I am just a lad who shares his opinions behind the camera. I'm no expert. I have two good finishes, and I really believe in my own picks. So, in my eyes, I'm a good manager. To everyone else, I wouldn't be considered an expert just yet. And the reason why I don't consider myself an expert is because I don't use enough data to back my opinions. I really go off what I think, and that's not how things work in life. Like, if you always go with your own opinions, you're never going to be an expert in any fields, because everything is done by the book to become an expert, in my opinion. You can have experience, and I suppose that experience does kind of call for expertise, I guess, but in a game like FPL where it's about numbers, I can't really sell myself as an expert. But to answer your question, Maliki, and yes, I am saying I have great hair. No, I'm joking. Elliott for game week 5, I don't mind it at all. I think, yeah, he's decent fixtures, for sure. Exactly, Chicken. What Chicken just said. Am I crazy for leaving out Mateta? Yeah, kind of. But the three you do have are quite nice. Johnny says, should I struggle with Palmer replacements? I'm thinking about replacing him and potentially Watkins to get Haaland and King. What are your thoughts? I like that, but I wouldn't like to start King every game week. You can have luck too, like Harry, but yeah, Harry, you have to make your luck. Do you know what I mean? Hey Choi, new job treating you well? What game you looking at watching this game week? Yeah, my job is brilliant. I really enjoy it. It's great to be back working and in routine. It was easy enough to wake up before the 9 a.m. kickoff now because not 9 a.m. kickoff, the 9 a.m. stream kickoff. Because I'm in routine. The job is good. I really enjoy it so far. Working from home. What game am I looking forward to watching this weekend? Palace versus Sunderland, Newcastle versus Wolves, if I can throw it on, and of course the mighty Kais at 5:30. I'm excited to see Xavi Simons. There's been a lot of anticipation for us Spurs fans with the international break with Xavi Simons. Again, with a signing like him, it's just one of those where you can't wait to watch him, and you're just hoping that he matches the hype. If he's anywhere near some of the hype that we're thinking, I mean, it's going to be a fun season. Also, not to forget Randall Kolomoani, which I think is an interesting sign. I don't love it personally because it's not who we wanted, but I'm happy with it. That gives us a bit of selection with Richarlison coming off in the 70th minute to bring on Randall Kolomoani for a debut. And then when Solanke's back fit, hopefully in the next few weeks, good selection there for a Champions League team. 140 people in here. I'll invite you back to liking the stream. Again, appreciate it. Let's try to get this stream over 100 likes. Chewy FPL, my man, how are we? He says, hi mate, what would you do with João Pedro and Iliman Ndiaye? I have Wood and Murillo in the bench and one free transfer. Been looking at Ndiaye to Pino, bench boost 5 and hope João Pedro and Gakpo start. That's a tough spot, Chewy, and a lot for me to process. What would you do with João Pedro and Ndiaye? I would play João Pedro. That's the first thing. Iliman Ndiaye, I don't know what to make of that news. I'd be tempted to just play him. Saying that though, Murillo, I would play Murillo. Again, it could look silly, but I think there is a narrative that Forest are going to be smashed. I think Forest is still a good side, and Ange is a good manager. As naive as he is, I can't see him playing a high line in this first game week. Arsenal would leech off that as well. So, to answer your question, Shuey, I don't have an answer for you. I'd be lying to you if I had an answer. Bench was 5 though, quite popular, I do like it. Please help me, pick one, Xavi or Grealish. I do love a Xavi Simons. Again, it's just the hype though. I won't take my opinion I wouldn't take my opinion on Xavi Simons because there's a lot of hype and hope there in me being a Spurs fan. She says, I'm loving your team. Thank you. Do I play Mickey van de Ven or Mbeumo? Absolutely, 10 million percent I would play Mbeumo. As a Spurs fan, is Brennan Johnson a rotation risk? Absolutely. Brennan's being hooked after 65 minutes. I know it this game week. You're not going to see Brennan play 90 this week. No way. Not with the signs we've made in the international break. He was woeful in that game versus Bournemouth. Not slating. I hate slating players because, again, players have their bad days, but and he has had his good weeks. But for me, I think Brennan's going to see way reduced minutes with Xavi Simons coming in. Is Ekitike, or if Ekitike keeps returning, when will he be essential by FPL content creators? Dr. James, I don't think he'll ever be essential personally. With Alexander Isak coming in now and Cody Gakpo lingering around, I think it's going to be one of those awkward situations where players are going to be hungry to get in this team. Unless Arne Slot mixes it around, which I can't imagine he does. I think it's going to be tough for Ekitike. Alexander Isak, in my opinion, is the second best striker in the world. Only behind Harry Kane. And I mean that seriously, not as a Spurs fan. I really do believe that. Try the best content creator without a doubt? I don't think so. I appreciate it though. I do appreciate it. Kind words. Morning lads. Hello Cameron, how are we? Moot Cosmic says, what are your thoughts on Guy, Watkins, Milenkovic, Ekitike, Loyal Foster and Senesi? All free transfers, currently 0 in the bank. Not bad, but to bring out Watkins for Ekitike, he might get 70 minutes. I don't love that. I don't think I'll be making those moves personally. I need an opinion on Kudus versus Barnes. Kudus versus Barnes is close. Why I like Kudus this week is I know he'll be so hungry for a goal. Against his own team, West Ham, pulling out that stool for his first goal at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. No, it's away. That game is away, if I'm not wrong. It is away. But still, even better, at his old home, bringing out the stool, that would be something. Imagine the absolute rage that there would be. By the way, 1.7 million in the world. I'm absolutely buzzing. Good to see you, FPL Cream. How are we? Good morning. Red Devil as well. By the way, chip strategy for me, for anyone who hasn't been watching the videos. Free hit 4, triple captain 6. Why I think triple captain 6 is brilliant is because a lot of people are going to be either free hitting that game week or wildcarding. So I'll get a leg up for anyone bringing in Haaland, hopefully. Wildcard game week 8 gives me an opportunity to get rid of a lot of my bad fixtures. And someone that Nico has just mentioned, Jared Bowen, is one that I'm looking for game week 8. Let's pull up FPL Team's fixture ticker. One of my favourite fixture tickers out there. I feel like it's the cleanest to read. And let me quickly show you why I'd like to wildcard in game week 8. So in front of you I've got the fixture ticker. For me, easy decision because I've got double Villa. I've got double United, and I don't have many players who I think are good for the long term. Again, I'd like to get out of Mbeumo at that point. In game week 7, it gives me the opportunity to dead end my team with one free transfer, bring in Kuna, triple up with United versus Sunderland. I have my... It sounds so nerdy, but again, you have to remember, like, I love the beautiful game and we've had a lot of time to think. I have my transfers planned all the way to game week 19. And that's not to say it's going to happen, but I've left room for error. So if there are players who get injured, I have the transfers there. I don't know if you care to see my planned 1 to 19 teams. This is my everything here. Will it load for me? I've got my team ID wrong. Every single time my team ID is wrong. I can't remember what it is. 35. Let me try again. Let me pull up my 1 to 19 transfer plan. So yeah, free hit 4. That's locked in. Let me quickly show you. Again, this is going to be brief because it's going to change. I just want to show you how I think as a manager who makes content. Not that I'm a better manager than any in chat, but this is just how I like to play the game. So for me, free hit 4, like I said. Roll the transfer in game week 5. Team looks great for game week 5. Who to captain's the only debate. But Burnley for Forest and Sunderland for Villa. No Salah, which is an issue, but I'm happy to bite the bullet because I've got Haaland in game week 6. Triple captain Haaland versus Burnley at home. Some nice fixtures for the likes of Mbeumo playing his own team. And Sunderland at home with the Forest guys. And even the double Villa, which I can't imagine can be any worse than how they've been. Game week 7, like I said, dead end the team with triple United with Sunderland at home. Burnley double up with Rodgers and Watkins also. And Leeds double up for the Spurs guys. Game week 8, wildcard, something like that. Again, it's not going to look like that because, again, injuries. Palmer mightn't be ready. Saka mightn't be ready. But something like that, whether it's Saka, whether it's Madueke, Gyökeres, which if he's fit looks great, brings us to game week 9 with a very solid team. Again, you're probably looking at that with a few question marks, but it's game week. It's the game weeks down the line that look good. Triple Arsenal versus Burnley. Game week 11, triple Arsenal versus Sunderland, and game week 12, triple Chelsea versus Burnley. Now the fixtures at this point do get a bit more staggered. In game week 13, then we start making transfers, bringing triple City, and then also we have the double up on Liverpool guys. So yeah, that's a brief guide to what my plans are. It's mad because none of that is going to happen, but in my mind, it's nice to think of. Voldemade or João Pedro, money not an issue. Voldemade for me. I just think he's such a nice pick on free hit. Lee, I like that thought process, but I would prefer my minutes personally. Alright, let's do a little scroll on Twitter to make sure we don't miss anything. Should I keep Mbeumo? Yes. Mbeumo has been great for United. Kudus versus his old team and save 0.5 for me, personally. Alright, let's see if we can get Atten on the timeline. Have we got Atten interesting on the timeline? Looks like we've got nothing. I need a green arrow this week, by the way. Reason being because I'm on and I'm using a chip. To use a chip and not get a green arrow, I would be quite disappointed. Voldemade made defo starts. I think he definitely starts. It's an opinion. Starting Barons. So should I play Nico over Agbadu? Yes, I would. Unfortunately. Start one of Wood or Saliba. I'll start Saliba. Alright, let me do another scroll. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything. Is this team 0.6 in the bank? No, this team has nothing in the bank. Why not triple captain Salah versus Burnley? First of all, I'm on a chip, so I can't. Salah's record versus Burnley in the last 6, he's not got a return. I prefer triple captain Haaland in game week 6, I believe, versus Burnley at home. And I prefer Salah in 14 versus Leeds at home. Is it 14? There's opportunities down the line. There's no rush to use a chip. For me, anyway. Is it game week 14 Salah plays... yeah, Sunderland at home. That could be a great fixture for Salah. So that's the reason. Thank you, Daniel. He says, good luck this week. Wissa is out. Bench 1 out of João Pedro, Senesi, and... Oh, Pedro Porro, João Pedro, and Senesi. Oh, that's tough. I'll probably bench Senesi. Again, it's tough, but that's what I would do. It's mad. We're starting to see some 5-3-2s. Who would have thought we'd be playing 5 at the back in a game like FPL? How do you see the West Ham Spurs game going? I think Spurs have strengthened nicely. Don't get me wrong. West Ham got a nice result. And also, West Ham are Spurs' kind of bogey team. From what I can remember recently, you know, we're not getting very many results versus West Ham. But Kudus versus his old team, he'll be well up for it and he's been great. Xavi Simons, I think, will slot in nicely versus 10. One of the things that we've been missing, especially on transition, we've had no outball or tricky player to flick it around the corner. So I think if Xavi Simons is up to the pace of this West Ham game, I think Spurs get a nice win. And again, it's just one of those things. It's going to be a tough game because West Ham will be well up for it after the win last game week. Spurs, of course, always up for this fixture. FPL Discomfort, good morning, man. How are you, Kieran? Hope you're well. The issue with Gyökeres is Arteta. I don't know, man. Gyökeres is just a donkey and he's going to be in the right positions. Same with Voldemade. I don't care how good he is at football. If you're playing up top for Newcastle versus Wolves at home, you can be a donkey and just be in the right positions to score. Am I concerned about Barnes not playing? Slightly. I mean, I'd be surprised if Barnes don't play. Again, it's bold because there's, obviously he's had a child, but hopefully that's some motivation for him. Only just got here, says Jamie. This is what are your thoughts about Voldemade? Yeah, I hope I just answered that. He's just a striker playing for Newcastle. I just hope he gets some wins. And if he is, he's a good option. I think it's great because he's a punt this week. Unless you're on for it, you're not likely to bring him in. And as you can see from a Rob T graphic, Newcastle are projected to do one of the highest this game week in terms of goals. Barnes didn't have the baby. His wife did, fortunately enough, so he should still be able to play. That's the thing, yeah, don't get me wrong, he has had a baby, and there is a chance he misses out, but again, I think he'll play. Barnes to Madueke, not bad, but Madueke has never been that option for me. Could be good though. Richie versus Evan Nilsson. I think Richie gets 65, 70 this week. So that would put me off Richie personally. I could be wrong. And that's not to say he can't do well in those minutes. But Evan Nilsson's probably going to get 85, I'd imagine. Am I not worried about the Egyptian King's record versus Burnley? See, this is the thing about the Egyptian King. When these records come up where he's not done well, or he's about to break them, he always breaks them. So I think this is a good week for him to... he's had a poor start to the season. In terms of Salah standards, I think this is a good one for him. Isaac versus Sunderland is going to be my triple captain. Yeah, I do love that as well. Evan Nilsson over Voldemade. Yeah, it's one that I've looked at as well extensively. I'm going to go with the big man. Right, says FPL Chicken, I need to go to bed for a few hours. Good night, FPL Chicken. I hope you've enjoyed the stream so far. Thank you for joining us, of course. If I still have Palmer, should I sell him to Semenyo? That's a tough one, man. I personally would. Is Gahey a good replacement for Lecree? I think Lecree gives you a bit more shorty. I think the 0.5 is worth it if you can stretch there. But again, it depends what you're doing with that 0.5 elsewhere. I've not seen a lot of criticism on my own draft, unless it's been Voldemade or Barnes, but that's understandable. Do let me know what you change in my own team. I'm intrigued to see what you do. What do you think about Harvey Elliott as a punt on wildcard? I like it. I do like it, but I don't love it. Do you know who Salah has captain in his team? He usually does not captain himself if he's not feeling up for it. No, but I'm sure Oscar will let us know at the end of the season, or of the end of the game week, or start of the game week, sorry. Sushant, our channel member, says, Voldemade gang, rise up. I have him on my wildcard too. That's mad. Wildcard with Voldemade. Voldemade. Do please correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. The chips are starting to run out for the poor FPL players. Of course, come game week 10, we'll have to hear a lot of players taking a -8. Let's see if we're getting any more information on the timeline. Bench 1, Rodgers or Reinders? Reinders. You should get Semenyo. I agree. Semenyo's on my list, but I don't think I can fit him in. Lecree is 0.1 too expensive. Oh, that's tough. That's tough. What alternatives would you suggest? Probably a Chris Richards. He's quite good for DEFCON. If you think West Ham play 4-3-3, Somerville is a good punt. I don't know about that, man. I prefer a Spurs asset at that point. Any team news? No, other than what we've seen about Newcastle, but it's not confirmed. That's on Raptors' page. Choi, could you please build a wildcard? I'm debating about Salah and Haaland draft, or just Salah. I want Hugo Ekitike in planning to get Haaland in game week 6. I personally would go with Salah and Haaland and not have Ekitike. Do you think Haaland is essential on free hit? No. He's definitely not essential because you could put in a Victor Gyökeres in that position and he could do quite well. It's just who I fancy this game week. And a player who's on form. Again, he should have had so much more this season. I don't think people realise that because they don't own him. But he's had a lot of shots. Is King starting versus Leeds? I'd be surprised if he doesn't. Will Xavi Simons play? Yes, I believe so. JM says, hey mate, I'm in a huge conundrum. Paqueta and Gyökeres versus Semenyo and Mateta. That's a tough one. For me, Semenyo and Mateta though, easily. Rafi says, do you reckon NGI will start? If not, is having Kudus or Xavi Simons valid on wildcard? Yes, I think it is. If I could choose, it's hard to say. Again, it's hard for me to convince you to bring in players who've not played a minute for Spurs yet. I just think Xavi Simons is going to play every minute he can. I was looking at his minutes record as well, and it's really good, other than international breaks. So I do fancy Simons. Again, it's just about how fast he can integrate into his first game versus West Ham. If he's picked up tactically on what Frank wants, he'll be in the team. I don't see a world in which he don't start in this West Ham game. But again, don't listen to me. What do I know? It's just an opinion. Barnes did just have a kid. He did. I was slightly tempted to try make way for Xavi Simons. Or make space for Xavi Simons instead of Barnes. Imagine Xavi Simons comes in and scores. The absolute scenes. Good morning, Paul. How are we? Hope we're well. 140 people in here. Do hit that like button for me, lads. Let's try to get over that 100 like mark. I do appreciate you for joining me on this Saturday morning. I'm glad to be back. Again, enjoying it as usual. Let's do a little poll, shall we? Let's do a poll. What should we do? Let's do a chip poll. Let's do start poll. Are you using a chip this game week? Let's do free hit, wildcard. No. And I'm gonna assume not many are on triple captain. I'm gonna guess. But yeah, let's stick in that poll. Let me get that stream overlay up so it's a bit better. Where should I put this? You know, let's do this real quick. I want to see what you guys are saying, and maybe you guys might want to see. I just want to see what you're saying. If you are on the chip, let us know. Why? Your team is injury riddled. You think it's much better, and there's going to be points to grab. Paul's on wildcard. Joe's on no chip. Lee Brunt says pick one to start: Senesi, Reinders, or KDH. To start, KDH. I have 7 million in the bank for a striker, Voldemort. Why isn't Gahey in the team? Because I have double Palace already. Yeah, let me put this back down here. Eze over Barnes. Not for me, man. Not for me. Personally. Let me close this poll. Wait, did I just close the poll for everyone? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, good. Why don't you play wildcard? Because I don't need to. This is my first time here. Was not expecting an Irish accent. Yeah, I don't exactly look like an Irish citizen. I'm not your your usual type in that sense. But yeah, I'm an Irish man. I was born here and lived here my whole life. So it's mad. Like I can probably speak more Irish than a lot of Irish people here. And what's crazy is, I'll walk down the street and people will go ching chong wong, but realistically they're talking to like a a white fella that can speak more Irish than. It's mad. But yeah, it's cool. I've always been proud to be Irish as well. I embrace it for sure. Any love for Livermento and wildcard? Yeah, why not? Good option. Thoughts on no Salah? Don't love it. We love you in Ireland, Shy. Thank you, Maliki. Appreciate it. Lecree or Minoz if you had to choose one. If I had to choose one, Minoz. Thoughts on Javi Simmons? Can't wait to watch him play. I think he plays for sure. Calafiori or Timber? I would go with Jurriën Timber for me. McGregor as presidency and me bollocks. Imagine. That'd be chaos. It's not happening. And if it does, I can't imagine the shit that would go on here. Money no issue. Dorgo to who? Minoz, Lecree, Van Dijk. That order. Choi is a proud Waterford man. This is true, Derek. This is true. I'm Irish myself. Nice to meet you, man. I'll subscribe since you're a fellow Irish man. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, we do have a good few Irish fellas in here. We do be representing as much as possible. Good to see you in chat. Nice to meet you. Do let us know where you're watching from. How many Irish men we got in here? And if you're not Irish, where are you from? Hugo is also Irish. Yup, the lads, he says. Alexander says 7.5 million mids other than Barnes. Javi Simmons. How many points are you predicting, Shy? So, Jamie, we done this last week for anyone that was joining us. And to be fair, I wasn't far off. I was about 15 points off my own team. Every week we try to predict... Oh, new subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate it. And if you aren't already subscribed, do hit that the subscribe button and like while you're there. Jamie is half Irish himself. Okay, so how many points am I expecting this game week? Let's go 7 points with Nick Pope. Indonesia, Derry. Nick Pope 7 points. Lecree, clean sheet 2 DEFCON bonus 9 points. Daniel Minoz attack and return clean sheet. Let's go 9 yellow card. Virgil van Dijk will go with a nice 6. Anderson will go with 4 clean sheet wipeout and DEFCON. Gakpo, we're going to go with 10. Salah, we're going to go with 16. Barnes, I'm going to go with 7. Haaland, 6. Voldemade, 6. Mateta, 6. Kilkenny, only up the road. Australia. Karen is from India. Close enough to the Irish flag, I suppose it is. I never even noticed that. Perth, Australia. Yeah, there's a lot of Irish in Perth as well, actually. Good to see you, lads. Good to see you. But yeah, how many points is that? 7 from Pope. That's about 70 points I'm predicting from my own team. Which I think is actually likely on a free hit. Let's see me get bit in the arse by that, but let's see. Should I put Harvey Elliott? I don't know, man. I'd like to see it play out a small bit. Is he going to get goals and assists every week? I don't know. South Africa, Paul. Nice. Triple captain Salah, I don't love it. It's not bad though. Definitely not bad. Next question for you in chat. Let me quickly close this poll. 40% on the free hit. 23% on wildcard, interestingly enough. And 36% on nothing. What was the next question I was going to ask you? It was something good as well. Oh yeah. What's your current rank? I'm currently... Thank you for subscribing. Who's that? Andreas. Appreciate it. I'm currently 1788369. Let us know your rank in chat. Yes, Voldemort was brought in after the Wissa injury news. Yeah, so currently 1.7 in the world, million in the world, not 1.7. There was a short period of time where we actually were second in the world. But this is a great rank to be at, lads. If you're anywhere in the top 3 million, I would say is quite good. And the way I compare that is to a lot of the top managers who I respect. Thank you, how do you pronounce that? Jede Kenkana, for subscribing. By the way, 8.1k subs, appreciate it, lads. But yeah, like I'm saying, if you're anywhere in the top 3 million, and even if you're not in the top 3 million, don't be discouraged. Again, a lot of people would have played chips at this point, and a lot would be playing a chip this week. Malachi's at 7.7 or 2.7. Sushant 8.8. ZJ 650k. Rajiv 1.5. Henry 700k. Derek 2.4. Why not Haaland captain? Salah is the obvious one for me this week. 200k, best star ever. Near a chip left though. Fair. Jamie, that's a good or not Jamie. Decora, that's a good rank to be at, regardless of what chips you've used. 8 Norris Minoz -4. I don't mind that. Is it fine to keep Sar this week? No. I think he's long term. Maybe 4 weeks minimum. Putra says 500k. Very nice. Robert 630. Robert, you always seem to be doing well. What's the crack with that? I've not seen you with a poor rank in a while. XTK and Gakpo replacements for game week 5. What? What? 6 million, worst start ever. Don't worry. I was also 6 million in game week 3 before I went on my crazy run. Thank you for subscribing, defenders, bro. Appreciate it. No Arsenal players. Yeah, that's the one thing this team is missing. But I've gone with a lot of the cheaper options in the Newcastle guys, and they're equally as good this game week. Same with the Sunderland guys. The one thing that I could do is move down Haaland to Gyökeres, bring Anderson up to Raya and Pope, bring Anderson up to Gabriel and Pope up to Raya. But with the likes of no Saka, I don't fancy it. I've had a stinker, 8.2 million Yusuf. Wildcard, the comeback is on. Yeah, Yusuf is definitely on, for sure. You've plenty of time. How long is Wissa expected to be out for? I don't think it's long. Does Eze start? I would say so. 150 in here. Thank you again, Dr. Giovanni FF, for subscribing. Appreciate it. We've got an hour until the deadline. Do let us know your dilemmas. Barnes is fine. He just had a kid. Hopefully, Daniel. Hopefully. Tosa Nekatike. He's going to get 70 minutes this week. I don't see a world in which he don't. Is he still a good option? Yes. Happy Xavi Simon's day. Same here, man. I can't wait to watch us. Baby equals goal. Yeah, he's going to do one of these after he scores, even though he just had a baby. But still. Are you locked in? I would say so. Lads, I need your help. Because this is the type of manager I play. Or for anyone that's new and hasn't watched me before. If I were to describe what type of manager I am, I would never classify myself as an expert. That's the first thing. I've always, again, not to get philosophical, but I've always been of the mindset that there is someone better than you at something. And this is how I play FPL. There's someone in FPL who's, first of all, a better manager than me, better at planning than me, better at understanding the fixtures than me, better at picking chips, better at picking differentials. It's about listening to a select few managers who you would put your trust in, taking their opinions, extracting the ones you believe in, matching them with, cross-referencing versus your own ones, and that will leave you with a solid opinion to go with your own picks, and then you put your own spin on it. Let me give you an example, and this is just off the top of my mind. So I just have an opinion going into the game week regardless, and then I'll go on Twitter, right? If you see me on Twitter, a lot of people would be like, you're quite arrogant for having a low following count. But the reason for that, thank you for subscribing, MSH. The reason for the low follower count is actually because when I scroll on my timeline, I don't want a load of shite. There are a lot of people who post a lot of shite, and the people I follow are a lot of people that I would trust their opinion, in a sense where I want to see what they're posting. When I'm on Twitter and scrolling through my timeline, I want leaks, I want opinions, I want teams. So that's why I follow such select few. Just so I can, when I go on here, look, I'll refresh my timeline. Again, it's not to say I won't get the odd few, but when I go to following, I get the likes of, you know, again, not to discredit anyone here, but I just mean like, scroll down small, I get Prass, Brandon, who I think is a great manager, Tom, Volo, who has some out there opinions, Andy Martin. So like, do you know what I mean? Like I would follow the managers I trust. I would get their opinion, look at my team, and make my own opinion on it. By the way, it is very, very tempting to go with Xavi Simons, by the way, I might add. Just for the pure hype aspect. I mean, that's what this game is about. If you can't pick your own players for your own team in a week where you think they're going to do well, I mean, why are we playing? Press the GOAT, yeah, absolutely. There are many managers who are better than me, and it's just about taking their opinions and using them. Best Ekatike replacement. Replacement is interesting, but probably Mateta or Haaland. Raya and Cucurella, or Sanchez and Gabriel to save 0.5. Will, it depends what you want to do with the 0.5, I suppose. It really does depend what you want to do with it. Alright, let's do another cheeky scroll on this timeline. By the way, it's mad. Like, I'm quite a niche YouTuber. I feel like if you're in here, you are one of two things. You either trust my opinion for some reason, which I wouldn't, or you don't like to listen to the crowd, which, you know, obviously there's YouTubers that present a bit better than myself, or give you a bit more data and have many more people watching. But yeah, why do you watch me? Always so interesting for me, because I never understood it. Like, to sit in here with 163 people is quite low in the grand scheme of things. Are you looking to get a leg up and a different opinion, or how does it work? But yeah, do hit that like button. I appreciate you guys nonetheless. Morning Choi says, Mr. Feather, he says, I also activated my free hit last night. Do let us know who your differentials on free hit, Mr. Feather. I'm here for the C, says Daniel. Appreciate it. You got VVD in. Virgil van Dijk. Yeah, VVD is indeed in. I like your management style, and I'm on free hit 4. Appreciate it. Similar content creator, so feels more personal when asking questions. Fair, yeah. I do understand that. It's hard to get your questions answered in a big chat, and I do apologise that I can't get back to Oli. I do try my best to get back to as many questions as possible, but it is hard, and I kind of have to pick. And it's not to discredit any questions. All great questions. It's just, again, with the amount of questions, I try my best. The Irish accent, appreciate it. I just find you similar to me in terms of a person. Really, Fergus? That's interesting. You're the first and only YouTube content creator I watch. Appreciate a Cactus Shack. Differential viewpoint. Yeah, that's always a big one. Have you considered Madueke? I mean, I have, but I just think Barnes is better. And I will be disappointed if Barnes doesn't play, but I think it's likely he does. Fergus, you have to understand though, you know, people are also here to make a living. I never discredit anyone who wants to make money off this. And if I could, I would. Not that I can't. I just mean, you know, if I could scale it more. It's more so the amount of effort I'm willing to put in. This is the amount of effort I'm willing to put in on a weekly basis. And that's the deadline stream and 1 video a week. If I wanted to make more of an effort to try and make more money off it, I could. But like, I also really like playing FPL. That's why I do it. And like, if you told me I'd be making 0 again, I would still do it. It is a passion thing. No, I'm far from the best FPL manager. As much as I back my own opinion, I don't think I'm the best. I back that. Definitely nice to know you'll be seen engaged with. Plus the vibes here are nice instead of mindless spam of questions. Yeah, that's fair, Daniel. I can get that. Pedro Yokeres. Are you different from other managers? That's why I listen. Oh, you are different. Sorry. They all sound similar. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like. Personally, about some of the bigger managers in the game is a lot of people copy their teams. So you have to think of it this way, lads. So for example, Andy hit the wildcard button this morning. Or last night. That video is on over 50k views. So let's just say in theory, half is probably too many, but let's just say 25k people hit that wildcard button and copy Andy's team bar for bar. Secondly, you're playing against probably 100,000 FPL Harrys minimum. You're probably playing against at least 100,000 Raptors, and same with Oscar, like. So if you go with similar players to these guys on a week-to-week basis, because you're playing with similar teams, you're not going to gain much. There's actually so much value with actually picking your own players. Like, if you genuinely believe, I'm going to go with this player, and no one has him. For example, I went with Erling Haaland at the start of the season. Hence why, again, that's not to say it can backfire, but my rank is a bit separated to the bigger boys, because again, they all have a lot of similar players. It's not to discredit them. I think their teams are great, don't get me wrong. I just mean a lot of people are kind of tunnel visioned, in my opinion. And again, because they're playing for rank, they have a lot more to lose because they have a big audience. Like, sure, I've nothing to lose. For the 200 that are watching me, you're going to think I'm either a shit manager or I got unlucky. But I'm happy to throw my hat at it. If I truly believe in it, I don't care what rank I'm at, because that's why I make the moves. I don't do it for the outcome. I do it for... Right now, I think it's a good decision. If it doesn't work out, I understand that good decisions don't always lead to good outcomes. I'm hoping with enough good decisions over a long period of time, I'll make my rank and look better. If you know what I mean. Have you considered Semenyo over Voldemort? Yes, I have. And am I going to put him in? No, I'm not. Should I captain Ekitike or Haaland? I mean, if I had to choose, probably Haaland. He's better minutes. Voldemort plus Wirtz or Ekitike and Semenyo? Voldemort and Wirtz. I think this could be a nice week for Wirtz. I found your YouTube channel page today and regretting that I never knew about it before. Thank you, Benito. I appreciate it. Do subscribe and you can be here for the foreseeable. Do let me know why I've intrigued you, though, since it's your first time here. They're not playing to win. They're playing for making content. I don't know, Dr. James. Winning gets you better content. Not necessarily better content, but more views. So I disagree with that. Hi, Choi, from Australia here. What do you think of Paqueta playing striker versus Spurs? Good for points or recipe for disaster? Decent option. Nor not a good option, not a bad option. Because he's cheap on penalties and not bad for DEFCON, why not? That's a nice team, Mr. Feather. Yo, Choi, thoughts on free hit 5? I've not seen a free hit 5. So, to be honest, I don't have much of an opinion on it. Haaland versus Arsenal won't put me off it. Thoughts on Salah and no free hit. Thoughts on no Salah on free hit, Chai. Sorry, I read that wrong. I don't like that. The whole reason I'm free hitting is because I don't have enough Liverpool, and Salah being one of them. George says, my moderator George, welcome George. He's been asleep since 10. He's due a big lion because he's been working hard all week. I know I'm late, but I wanted to pop in and wish everyone good luck. Welcome, George. Let me know what you're doing on your own free hit. George is also on free hit. Good morning, though. Good morning, Tough, my guy. How have you been? Elanga gonna play? Likely. You use wildcard try. No, this is free hit. Kaleem, or not Kaleem, Agung. Start Porro or Wood. Porro all day. Is this your free hit team? Looks good. Yes, this is indeed my free hit team. The title does say, if I'm not mistaken. Let me read this, or did I put this in wrong? Free hit is indeed active, lads. I didn't lie, I promise. By the way, 200 in here. Do hit that like button for me. I do appreciate all your faces in here. It means a lot. And if you aren't already, hit the subscribe button. We're closing in on 10k by the end of the season. What do you think about Grealish? He's a good option. Great start to the season. He gets a flourish in an Everton team where he can be one of the main men. And Everton have looked quite good. Why not Gahey? Gahey's not as good for DEFCON and attacking threat. Don't get me wrong, he did score, but that wouldn't change my thought process. Is Voldemort locked to start this week? No. Asula is in my mind, but I don't think they signed a striker with Wissa now out that he doesn't start. I'd be surprised. Changed a lot of my team. Brought in Salah, Ekitike, Virgil, Gahey, Henderson. Love that, George. Benito says he has subscribed. Well, your team is different, but more so insight is similar to mine. Love that, Benito. Salah's just been poor, and I smell Vert's first return. So I'd rather spread the funds and go with Verts and Gakpo. I agree. I like that, Mikel. Thank you for subscribing. What's that? Viking in Lanka. Appreciate the subscribe. Haaland, King, Anderson, Pope, or Gyökeres, Semenyo, Schär, Leno. First, that's tough. Second option. I'd be very wary of Schär. Thank you, Greek Prodigy Warrior, for subscribing. It feels very strange playing a 5-3-2 on a free hit. Yeah, it is odd. I can't get myself to do it personally. I'm on wildcard. Should I keep Watkins for one more week or get Gyökeres now? I would just get Gyökeres now. That's not to say Watkins can't do well. I just think Gyökeres could do equally as well. Again, he is a bit more expensive, but the fixtures do turn in 8 for the likes of a Watkins. Whereas they continue to be good for Gyökeres. And I do think Gyökeres is fixture proof. Hello, Choi. Voldemade or Mateta for Strand Larson? Mateta. All day. Alright, let's do another thing in chat. What club do you support? Because, you know, I'm a Spurs boy. I'm interested to see. Like, I don't know what majority club people support in my chat. If I'm guessing, of course, you know, you have to guess the big boys in United and Liverpool. Let me know who you support and why. Saeed16, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Salah has a return versus Burnley at 1 point. Right? Sure, that's how it works. VVD alternative 5.7 in the bank. Dan Byrne. United says Mikel, unfortunately. Love that for you. Spursy. Oh, stop it, Mr. Feather. That's a myth. Young boys. MUFC. Leeds. Love that. Kez Leeds. Leeds. Man City, Abdullah. Hate that. Manchester United. Oh, Manchester United. You're gas. Portsmouth supporter here. Very good. Liverpool says Putra. You reckon Barron's still starting even with the child's birth? I believe so. I'll be doing some scrolling on the timeline though to keep an eye out. Chelsea says Maliki. Maliki, we know that. You don't need to tell us that. I very much apologise. I've just been sent a DM from the same guy that says this is incorrect. He now says that Theo, Hall and Elanga are not starting and Trippier, Murphy and Schär are in. So the team would be... Okay, this is good team news, lads. How reliable it is, unsure, but it's from Ross, and I trust Ross. Up the Arsenal, says Davis. Get out of here, Davis. Take away that channel membership now, George. You know, if on here, and Pogba was right on that quote. Yeah, Paul Labila Pogba. So, Pope, Trippier, Schär, Byrne, Tino, Livermento, Tonali, Bruno, Joelinton, Murphy, Voldemade and Barnes. The predicted lineup for Newcastle from, I quote, FPL Raptor. And potentially incorrect. Of course, we'll just avoid sharing info going forward. To this point, it's been 100% correct. Yeah, this will be interesting. Chelsea. Chelsea are shit. Robert says, Voldemade. What's happening here? You think he's coming straight in? One of the best fixtures for sure. Palace a bit lower for goal projections than I would have thought. Voldemade, yes. I think with Wissa being out, Robert, he looks great. Great fixture, like you said. For me, what it is about the Palace guys is injuries. Again, no Sarr. That's a big thing for making the goal projections a bit lower. Who's more advanced, Livermento or Trippier? I would say Trippier probably still on set pieces. Sorry, I just got a really dry throat. 2 seconds. Yeah, but for me it's close. Even with Trippier being leaked to start, I don't know if I'd even put him in because he's getting old now. He probably gets a sub. So it would be more... I would just go Burn, lads. If I could choose a Newcastle defender, it would be Burn. From this leak, he was projected to start. From this leak, he's also projected to start. And he's good for DEFCON. I would just play safe. I wouldn't believe too much in the leaks. Saying that, watch Burn be the one that's benched now. That'd be gas. Hello, Chai. Says Bashir. He says, owning 3 Nottingham Forest and Di and Sar who are probably out, Haaland and Fernandez who play each other, would that force you to free hit? If not free hit, Bashir, it would make me wildcard. For sure. Javier Kudus. For this singular game week, I think I fancy Kudus versus his old team. Did you say something about João Pedro Mins? Scott, for me, I don't think he gets more than 70 after being on international break. Pope or Martinez? For this game week or in general, Pope. Liver can get DEFCON as well. Yeah, I suppose. Shalaba, good option on free hit. Not bad. Don't love it. What's the difference between you saying tot and tot? Nothing. It's the same with tree, and tree. Or, what else is there? True, and true. Like, I don't know. Is that an Irish thing or my shitty vocabulary? Let me know. Madueke or Barnes on free? I'm on Barnes, lads. I've been on Barnes. I've not changed my team. And it's a good sign that I've not changed my team. With Isaac, I think Gakpo's mins will be less. Fair? Is Johnson a solid starter for Spurs? No. He will start this game this week though, I believe. Top 10 Travel says he's strongly considering Pino for Sarr instead of Semenyo. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? I don't have the answer to. But is it bad? No, it's not bad. Do get your dilemmas in, lads. 40 minutes until the deadline. Actually, you know what, says Daniel. Should I take a -4 to get my nose? Yes. Chai, were you born in Ireland? I was. I was indeed. Born and raised. Timber and Cucurella decent for this game week. Absolutely decent. Should I get Noni Madueke or Eze? I personally would... I prefer to punt on Eze. Semenyo or Gakpo for Kuna? That's a tough one. I'd probably go Semenyo. Due to unsurety, what's the crack with Isaac and Ekitike? I want to know what they're going to do. Thanks for the blunt response. I mean, that's who I am. Yeah, Palace without Wharton and Sarr. Exactly. Should I play Thiago or Isaac? I mean, if you have Isaac... that's hard. I can't tell you to bench Isaac because I don't know how you own him in the first place. So, if you owned Isaac, I would just play him. What's a fair rank for wildcard free and bench boost used? I mean, it's hard to put a number on that. The way I look at that is each of those chips. So bench boost free hit, that's 15 points each. So 30 plus 30. Plus 30 is the difference between what 100k and probably 500k, I would say. And it's also the difference between 2 million and maybe, I don't know if that's right to say, but 1 million. Wildcard as well, that should set you up nicely. So, I don't know. It's hard to say a figure. Where do you live now? I'm still living in Ireland. I've not changed. What do you think about owning Haaland, Salah, Pedro and Gakpo? Sounds tasty to me, Will. Bren says, best goalkeeper and defender for coming game weeks. Do you know, one I've looked at? Marc Bizot. No, not Marco Bizot. Potentially Martinez. This sounds crazy. Let me pull up Villa's fixtures. But with him back in the team, they've got Everton, Sunderland, Fulham, Burnley. And then it gets tough with Tottenham City, Liverpool, Bournemouth. But if I had someone to rotate, I don't think it looks bad. Again, in 8th for Villa, when they play Tottenham, you get the Leeds at home, Dubravka. 9, you get Wolves. And then you just play Martinez again, who was Liverpool, Bournemouth, Leeds. And you might get some save points. Again, that's just a bit of a differential keeper. That's not to say it's the best one. Again, just an opinion. What do I think of Conor McGregor running for president? He can run for president for all I care, but he ain't getting it. This is an interesting team. Do you know what I love about Spurs? We're starting to build an identity. Young players. Lucas Bergville, Xavi Simons, Pat Matasar, Tell, even Mickey van de Ven. Beautiful. What about Spurs striker instead of a Newcastle one, lad? Yeah, the thing is though, Richarlison I do expect to get 70-ish minutes with Randall Colo-Muani lurking around. So, if you're happy with a 70 minutes Richarlison on penalties, sure, not bad. West Ham though, be wary of a yellow card for Richarlison. Same with Kudus. If I were a betting man on Paddy Power, I would personally be placing my bets on Richarlison and Kudus to get a card. Morning choice, says Mark. Good morning, Mark. How are we? New season, best of luck. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Kudus or Enzo? Kudus for sure. Alright, this is what I need to do because I've not really tampered with my team much. Let's play around with it a small bit. Alright, so who are the locked in ones in my team? Haaland, Mateta, Salah, Gakpo, King, Manoz, McCree, potentially Pope. They're the only locked in ones. Again, I did say my team was locked in, but what I meant by that is it's unlikely to change. The only things I could see myself doing is Barnes out. Now, like I said, I don't have the money. If I go filter this by price, I don't quite have the money to bring in Xavi Simons, Kudus because I missed the price rise. I can't even afford a Noni Madueke or a Semenyo.
Palmer to Madueke 2-week punt before WC6. If Palmer doesn't play, I'll have Rodden off the bench. Cheers.
Thank you for the first super chat of the stream, Nick. Appreciate it. Nick Giordano with the £5 super chat. He says, just to reread that, Palmer to Madueke 2-week punt before wildcard 6. Let me process that. Palmer to Madueke. Arsenal have Forest, City, Newcastle, or Forest and City. Okay, interesting. If Palmer doesn't play, I'll have Joe Rodon off the bench. Cheers. Interesting punt, Nick. What I'd say to that is, why would you go Madueke in that case, though? Do you know, Forest and City. As a punt, surely you'd go for a Gakpo versus with Burnley, Everton, even a Simmons, West Ham, Brighton. If you're an Arsenal fan and you think he's going to do well, I can't tell you otherwise. And I do quite like it. The only thing is though, like, yeah, out of all the options at that 7 million bracket, it's just interesting that you're going with Madueke. Again, there's going to be goals in these Forest and City games. I don't doubt that. It's just Madueke. Can you hang your hat as him? Hang your hat on him for goals and assists? Unsure. Same with the likes of Kudus and Xavi Simons, of course. I just mean, you know, surely you play the fixtures in that case. So is it a good move? As a punt, yes. Is it what I would do? No. But who am I to tell you what to do? So yeah, if you believe he's going to do well in that Forest fixture in City, then yes, for sure. Is it okay to go without Haaland on free? Absolutely. I'm not one to tell you who to choose on free. It's just an opinion. And for me, Haaland at the start of the season has been criminally underrated. Again, you have to remember, lads, there's a bubble in the FPL stratosphere. Haaland has been one of the best assets this season so far. The only reason he's not getting the hype is because a lot of managers don't own him, and a lot of the content creators. If you see one content creator, which was one of the bigger ones that owned him, I feel like there'd be a bigger bandwagon. Game week 6, everyone's going to be breaking their team to get him, especially if he does anything in this United game. His XG, 2 XG versus Wolves, 0.5 versus Spurs, and 1.4 versus Brighton. How many shots is this man averaging? Can I see shots? Is that here? Shots. I don't see it. Anyway, he's averaging many shots a game. And he scored 5 goals in international break. Again, it was against the lads down the road, but you know what I mean? Like, you have to be there, and confidence will be up. So yeah, criminally underrated, that Erling Haaland. So that's why I have him in. Plus, an opportunity to go a bit different. Not many managers have both Salah and Haaland. First of all, I'm doing two things here. On free hit, I don't have Salah, and I'm putting my armband on him to cover my arse for this week. Secondly, not many are going to have Haaland and Salah, even on free hit. So, it's a good fixture for Haaland, and he's projected to do quite well. Watkins to Richarlison, I wouldn't do it personally. I think Watkins has a nice set of fixtures to come. That's just me though. Yeah, how is Haaland the differential? You'd think it'd be a bit closer. It won't be a differential come game week 6 though. How I'm going to differentiate myself though is going to put the triple captaincy on him in game week 6 while people are going to captain him. City haven't looked good overall. They have to win against United. This is my point. City have looked quite shit, to be honest, except in that first game. Yet Haaland is doing well. Can you imagine City start playing a bit better? All it takes is another jammy pen for Haaland and he's on for 3 bonus. It's just like that. He's just like Salah. He's a bonus monster. Yeah, just food for thought though. Like, again, I won't need to sell you him come game week 5 and 6, come game week 6 because the content creators will be on him. And I understand if you don't own him now. I mean, United, Arsenal, you know, you're probably better to hold off until Burnley. But Haaland is fixture proof at the end of the day. The big games like Arsenal are the ones where he'll need to show up. And, you know, I think it doesn't put me off having him at all. Morning Choice says Aaron. He says João Pedro or Gyökeres? Gyökeres. Victor Gyökeres. Will Ange bench Wood? I doubt it. I do highly doubt it. I would imagine you play your most experienced assets coming into management. I think that's usually how it works anyway. Especially if you're unsure with the squad and you haven't had the time to mould it how you want. You're just going to pick what works. Double Spurs offense? I don't know what game you're playing. Had Salah and Haaland from the start of the season. I'm 202 points. 86k. That is beautiful. What are your thoughts on Barnes and Voldemarte? I think if they both start, I'm laughing this game week. I think that's the only thing I need. I see one of them return minimum if they both start. Hopefully the leaks are right. Will says, do you watch and play football or do you only play fantasy? Yeah, I've been a Spurs fan over a fantasy Premier League manager my whole life. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Let me quickly toggle something just for proof. This is going to be interesting. Hold on. Let me 2 seconds. Let me add a camera. Yeah, you can still hear and see me. So let me move the green screen. Buddy, this is just a green screen. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a Tottenham badge up there. There's a Tottenham badge up there. There's another one over there in the corner behind me. So I'm definitely a Spurs fan first. Don't get me wrong. And in terms of playing football, I played football for 15 years? No, not at a high level. But I always enjoyed playing it. It was more so... Sorry, I'm just trying to fix my green screen. It was more so casually. Like it was youths all the way up to men's. And I just stopped playing because I got busy in college. Sorry for if I put anyone off with putting full screen. But definitely a Tottenham fan first. And to be honest, if you told me I was going to finish 10 millionth, but Spurs are going to win the Prem, I mean, I'd take it in a heartbeat. So, yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, FPL is just part of my footballing love, I guess. And it's just a hobby. So, yeah. Choi, I'm free hitting 2. What do you think of Semenyo? Brilliant. Semenyo absolutely destroyed Spurs. One of the best performances I've seen from a different player. Do you think Tottenham will lose today? Unlikely. I do think it's unlikely. Now, West Ham are a bogey team, but still. Deadline time and he's fixing. Balls. 2 seconds. We have 28 minutes until the deadline. I'll fix that real quick. Sorry. Hope that's better. It resets when I change scenes, that's why. What do you think of Palmer if you have him? Sell. Unfortunately. I can't decide between Verts, Gakpo and Tavernier Reinders. Verts and Gakpo. What? Yeah, thank you, Mojo. I'm just going to make sure Forest finish higher than Spurs. I don't know, man. To be honest, I hope Forest finish 19th and win a trophy. Similar starts today, I think so. Choi is still hungover from the Europa League final. Yeah, that was one of the things that really annoyed me, Dr. James. At the start of the season, there was this narrative that Spurs were going to be shocking at the back. But Thomas Frank is a defence-first, counter-attacking manager. People read into last season too much and not going with what's happening. Like, when Ange comes in, obviously, it's going to be not defensive. And when Thomas Frank comes in, it's obviously going to change. The personnel is not the reason why we weren't good defensively. It was the system. Chucky Arla says Lar Heidel. He's from Northern Ireland. Grandmother from Northern Ireland. Paul says Dylan. Yes. Misha. Do you think Timber will start? Yeah, I don't see why not. Why not transfer out Virgil van Dijk and go triple Liverpool attack? So, this has been on my mind. But who would you suggest Virgil van Dijk going down to bring up triple attack? That's my question. John Ross says, do you think Spurs will get a clean sheet? No, I don't think so. Hello, Choi. Now that Solanke is out, does Colomwani start? What do you think? No, it'll be Richarlison today. I don't see a world in which we don't have Richarlison up top. By the way, 220 people in here. Do hit that like button and subscribe if you aren't already. Let's try to get the stream to 150 likes. I have no clue what it's on now, but I do appreciate you guys for joining me after the international break. It means a lot. Timber or Calafiori? Timber. Would you sell Guy for Richarlison? No, I wouldn't. Is Pedro playing? I can't give you a definitive answer, but I would say it's likely. Whether or not he gets 70 or 100 or 90, I think I would back my money on 70 personally. Hello, Choi. Senesi or Mings for 2 game weeks? I would go Taro Mings. 2 great fixtures for him. Livermento and Anderson to a 4 million, then Voldemort to Ekitike. That's not bad, William, but it's not a bit of me because I've got Pope. You know, I'll be for Newcastle then. Sure. Thank you, Aitza, for subscribing. Appreciate it. On a free hit, says Elderm. He says, would you go with Petrovic and 3 bench players that will get appearances from the bench, or Leno and 3 non-bench players? Pretty confident that all 11 start, but seems risky. Yeah, my own team, I've not a big depth on my bench, but I'll be happy if you're sure that 11 are going to start. Start Anderson or Senesi. Anderson. King is good cover anyway if Barnes doesn't start. Exactly. Why Voldemort, says Jack. Likely to start with Johan Wissa out. Liam, good morning. Great to see you, man. Munoz for the Cyper and Bruno for Palmer. I assume you're meaning Munoz in and Bruno in. In that case, yes. No worries, Paul. Appreciate you being a channel member, of course. And for anyone who isn't a channel member, if you'd like to become a channel member to support the channel and join a WhatsApp group to be part of a community, feel free to hit the button to join as a member. Again, I don't want your money, but if you want to become a bit closer in my community, feel free to hit the membership button. Again, shout out to all the members who are in here currently. Voldemort or Mateta on free hit. Anton, it would be Mateta for me. 150k, no Salah or Haaland. Used free hit, but no transfers. Got 2 transfers. Who would you pick? Semenyo and Eze. Got 17 mil. Semenyo. Choi, would you start Elliot or Bruno Fernandes? Bruno Fernandes in a heartbeat. Reinders or Dewsbury Hall? You know what? I'd actually be tempted to play Reinders. Is Palmer out? Oh, I can't give you a definitive answer. A doubt is the best way to put it. Robert says, Salah versus Burnley. Stats away. A goal and 2 assists in 10 appearances versus Burnley. Burnley with low block. Nah, I feel like Salah is the man to break these type of taboo records. suddenly it will be 4 goals and 3 assists in 11 appearances. It doesn't look so bad then. FPL coach says, can you rate my team? For this game week or in general? For this game week, I give it a 7. In general, maybe also a 7. Decent team. My brother says Kaka 3. He says Minoz for Tarkovsky or Mateta for Bowen. Man, that's tough. Mateta for Bowen though. Did you wildcard Choi? No, I am on free hit. Stan says thanks, no stress Stan. Would you transfer out Ndiaye to Paqueta? No, I wouldn't. Paul says he's happy to help out as a mod. Yeah, for sure I can get that done, Paul, next stream. Reynildo or Esteve first sub? Esteve... Reynildo. That's tough. Start 2 of Reinders, Bob and King. I would love to punt on Bob this week. I would love it. And I think he's likely to start. He's been amazing. Good morning, Chess Econ. Good to see you, my man. I don't know how many likes are on, but do get us over that 150 threshold if you can. Someone let me know. On a free hit, would you pick Burn and Gakpo or Timber and Semenyo Chai? Burn and Gakpo for me. Liam says he's on free hit. He has Ekatike and King or Voldemare and Konate. 5 at the back, Liam. You dirty dog. Ekatike and King is hard to look past, man. Voldemare and Konate. 2 better starting options. Do you think Eze starts? I think it's likely, yeah. I think Eze is due a good performance. Actually, now that you say it. Toast on Javi Simmons, will he start? Says asking Kieran. Yes, I do think so. Reinders or Bob? Bob. As a 1 week punt, might I add. I am thinking of Arsenal attackers. I just don't think for the price any of them are better than the ones I have in my own team. Like, I think for the price of 7 million, Voldemare is great value. Even on a free hit where value doesn't really necessarily matter. Choi, are you sure on Voldemare? No, but I'm happy to take a risk because other people are not. And I'm on free hit, so I can take that risk. It's not a long-term punt. The way I'm looking at it is Johan Wissa, the only other option other than Usula, who could take minutes of Voldemare, is actually injured. So this will be the week for me. Why no Simmons? Yeah, Bill, that is me all over. You know what? It is me all over. I just don't have the 0.5 to make up to bring Barnes to Xavi Simons. If I had a 0.5 to do it, I would, if I'm being honest. Virgil van Dijk is staying. Pope has to stay. There's no one I could bring in. Risk on Barnes' newborn baby. I'd like to think he'd like to do his newborn some scenes at St. James's Park. Do one of these in the camera for his baby and wife. Gareth Bale style. Thoughts on James Tavernier? Not bad. Definitely not bad. Kudus or Tijani Reinders. Kudus for me. Spurs got the fixtures if it's long term. Wait, is Isula injured? No, he's not injured, but Johan Wissa is. Is it true Spurs haven't won away from West Ham since 2019? Interesting question. Let's find out. Spurs versus West Ham.
Yes, try hope your will coys predictions for today's game. Enjoy the coffee on me, bro.
Thank you, Adila Fran. £5 super chat. I do appreciate it. He says, yes, Chai. Hope you're well. I'm brilliant. Come on, you Spurs. Prediction for today's game. Enjoy the coffee on me. Adil. Very kind words. I do appreciate it. He's mentioned me, Spurs, coffee. Me all over. And he wants to send me money. Adil, man. My man. No, I do appreciate it. Predictions for today's game. Quickly, let me think. I am going to say 2-0 Spurs. I think Spurs are due a big win with the signings we have. And I'm going to say an assist for Xavi Simons. Kudus goal versus his old... Kudus goal from his old... Against his old team. Sorry, I can't speak. And also, I think Brendan Johnson will score. Assist for Pedro Porro. Back post. And not even joking, like it's going to be something scrappy in the box. That's my prediction though, Adil, and let me know what you're thinking. Tony Fungus, another channel member, he says, Dylan, I need your help. Elanga for injured Sar. I like it, Tiny Fungus. A decision to be made though, whether you go Elanga or Harvey Barnes, who's just had a child. But yeah, I do like that move overall. Yeah, I saw that, Toff. Thank you for letting me know. Where was I? Sorry, guys. Any news on Saliba? No, but I think he's likely to start. Or I think there's a chance he'll start. Sorry, I won't say likely. And getting back to that question, before we got a really nice super chat. Again, appreciate it, lads, for the support. Thank you, all you who are in here watching. Do let me know if we've got the like target of 150. Let's have a look. So, Spurs versus West Ham. Is it true we haven't got a win away since 2019? Why am I looking at 1999? Oops. Let me have a look. Sorry, guys. This is not what you want to see. Away. Okay, we won in 2024 away. So no, that's not true. And where was I going with that? Yes, West Ham are definitely our bogey team though. We often struggle. Lecree or Senesi for Nico Williams? Lecree all day. I wouldn't think twice about it, honestly. Tiny Fungus, let me know what you do. I'm intrigued. Played Juzaberi Holler and Mbuemo this week. Mbuemo. I actually think Mbuemo was quite nice this week. Are you considering any Arsenal on free hit? No. Is buying Gakpo viable? I don't know if I'd buy him. If I had him, I'd definitely hold on to him. I probably would buy him. Sorry, I'm not saying that right. I would buy him. I think, in terms of a natural left winger, he's definitely better than Isaac and Ekitike. He's not a better player, but he just signed a new contract. I can't see him losing his place just because he signed Isaac. Voldemort or Wood. Voldemade for me. Start Tijani Reinders or Wood. Reinders. Are you still captain Salah over Gakpo? Gakpo has more threats in the first first 3 game weeks. Yes. Why no Arsenal? It's not a case of why no Arsenal. I think Arsenal assets are great this week. For me, it's the value in the players I have are better. Voldemade 1 point whatever cheaper than Gyökeres. Pope 0.5 cheaper than Raya. I have 0 in the bank. Even Virgil cheaper than Gabriel by 0.1, I think. So I just think it's a case of pricing because I've got Salah and Haaland. You pay a price going with the big boys. Is Konate a safe option for free hit? I wouldn't say safe. He's not a bad one though. Opinion on Ndai for Forest. I think he was decent under Nuno from what I saw. How Ange is going to use him though, I'm unsure. Not a single Spurs player. People are disappointed I've no Spurs boys. I am too, but I get double Spurs back next week. Munoz or Timber for free hit? Daniel Munoz or Timber? Munoz without a shadow of a doubt. Opinion to move Watkins to Pedro. I wouldn't do it. Ooh, and Tijani Reinders to Salah. Okay, I like that. Start Reinders or Rodgers? Rodgers. Wirtz and Voldemade or Ekitike and Elanga / Barnes on a free hit? Wirtz and Voldemade for me. Munoz or Timber? Munoz. Do you see Madueke double digit haul? No, I don't. Do you think Eze starts? I think he does. I'm 0.1 off Pope. Who would you go with instead? If you don't already have Triple Palace, potentially Henderson. Don't love it though. Gakpo or Haaland captain? That's tough. Isaac, I'm not going to give you an answer there because I don't want to be the deciding factor. Vasa, good to see you. Good morning. I'm at work, so hope I don't miss anything crucial in case I need to do something. Vasa, the only news that we've got is Raptor posted a potential team for Newcastle. Potential. He's after getting a leak. It's not confirmed. And the leak is that Schär is likely to be playing, and so is Barnes and Voldemade. When started Semenyo. Like that, Tiny Fungus. I do like that. Best Semenyo replacement. Why are you replacing Semenyo? That's my question. I need to sneeze, lads. Oh no. The sneeze is not coming. Minoz or VVD? Minoz. Kudus or Barnes? Barnes. All my friends say you are dumb for 4 on the fence, but I trust you, bro. Man, I don't care what your friends say about me. And 4 at the back, I wouldn't trust me either. I mean, I could have a shit game week this week and it'd make no difference to me. I do what I do because I believe in it. Kudus or Gakpo for Reinders? Gakpo. Respect your opinion. How is my free hit team, Chai? Yeah, I like that. Cucurella on free hit though. Not that I don't like it. I just think it's interesting. When will you activate your bench boost? Later down the line. I've actually not thought too much about it, which is unfortunate. Bless you. Thank you, Lars. Chessy Con says Tavernier or Elliott. Tavernier. Bournemouth look one of the best attacks in the league, and they have done for a while now. Controversial take. I don't think so. The numbers back it up. Alright lads, we've got 10 minutes until the deadline. Do get your questions in. Quite excited to see how Volumade does. Also think Josh King could be a cheap beast pickup. Absolutely, I agree. Josh King has looked brilliant. He's been on my own... he's not been on my own team, but he's one that at the start of the season I did talk about quite a lot. Who gets more wins, Ekitike or Wirtz with UCL coming up? Tough question. I want to say Florian Wirtz to get his confidence up. Kudus or Xavi for Palmer and João Pedro? Or Mateta for Fulkrug? Mateta for Fulkrug. Hi Choi, says Praneeth. Good to see you. Just woke up and changed cells to Rhea. Interesting. Interesting move. How many points you get last week? Says Hong. Hong, I got 60 points last week. Brian and Mbeumo I brought in. And Captain Bruno Fernandes. Very nice week for myself. Morgan Rogers, the unfortunate pick for myself. What are the latest hot leaks? The latest hot leaks is just the one on Newcastle. Newcastle potentially been leaked. No, I prefer the DEFCON from 20 Fungus personally. Okay, I'm locked in. I'm happy to go into the game week like this. Senesi or Lacree long term? Lacree all day. Let me just screenshot my team and get ready to post it on Twitter. The free hit is indeed locked and loaded. Let me get a good screenshot. Okay, screenshot's in. Let's post that. Start Roden or the youth this week? Joe Roden for the DEFCON. Did I use wildcard? No. Free hit. Free hit. Do I put ranking? No, people won't like that. Not that I care if they like it or not, but it's too early. I love my team, lads. I'm just looking at it there. Let me know. Put a number in chat. How would you rate my draft? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Surely it's not lower than 5. Do let me know what you change. Free hit. What am I saying? Salah C. Let's put a little star emoji or captain. What else? Love this team. Love free hit. Sets me. Let anyone else using chips. And a little arrow below. 10, 6, 7, 6, 7. Stop it, lads. I don't know if that was purposeful. 9. Using chips. Using a chip. Let's do. Love this free hit. Not changed since yesterday. Let's put a little eyes emoji. Alright. Bueno Arsenal, bueno Arsenal. Bueno Arsenal. Bueno Arsenal. Sam. Bueno Arsenal. Imagine I've read every... because I just think there's better value to be made here. Again, thank you to the 260 of you that are joining me today. Do hit that like button. The goal is 150 likes. I don't know if we're already there, but if you aren't already subscribed, also subscribe. I've gone 3 Arsenal and you haven't even got one. It's just about value. I bet your team doesn't have Erling Haaland. Either will I have to go a good game week or you'll have a good game week. Fair, yeah, I agree. Choi, on free hit. Oh, chat's moving fast. Ekatike and Gehi to VVD and Volumade. Yes, love that. I have Barnes since last game week. Thinking of captaining him to be different. Thoughts. Don't love it. Don't hate it. Cucurella or Lecree? Lecree. Choi, Strand Larson to Evan Nilsson Verts. Or Strand Larson to Gakpo, João Pedro. Evan Nilsson and Verts. Jimenez to Pedro for a -4. No. Arsenal versus Ange Ball. Yes. Choi on free hit. I answered that. Sorry. Cucurella or Lecree? Lecree, please, on wildcard. NDI to Grealish. No. VVD to Minoz. Yeah, or VVD or Minoz. Minoz all day. Are you set on Volumade starting? In my mind, yes. Minta, what do I do? Hold, start. I try to do the same for him, but 0.6 less in the bank because of price changes. Barnes or Elanga? Barnes for me. Tavernier or Elliott? That's close. That is really close. I can't choose. Either. Richarlison, probably 70 minutes off. Probably 70 minutes and subbed off with 20 to go. Am I crazy for Captain Volumade? Yes, a little bit. Sartigui and Semenyo Mateta for a -4. Yes. Keeper sell Kuna. Sell. Wood or Dewsbury Hall? Dewsbury Hall. KDH or Mbuemo? Mbuemo. Kudus or Barnes? This game week, Barnes. In general, Kudus. Kudus and Barnes, quite a popular one, lads. Ekatike Pedro Mateto as a free hit front line. Yes, sounds great. Gabriela Mateta or Gyökeres and Van de Ven? Gabriela Mateta. Kudus or Barnes? Kudus. Barnes this game week though. Bench Kudus or Mbuemo? Now that's tough. I'll be benching Kudus in that sense. That is real tough though. Is Volumade a risk? I mean, slight risk for sure. Any news on teams? Supreme Leader asks. No. Who is Volumade? Is this the stage of questions we've got to? Oh no. Oh no, lads. Messi or Ronaldo? Messi. All day. Okay, lads, we're locked in. 5 minutes until the deadline. Do get your teams and questions locked in. Gakpo plus Van Dijk plus Mateta to Verst Ekatike Gehi. No. I'm confused. That's a tough question. Will Pedro play? Likely. I hope he doesn't though. I would love Florian versus this week. It's just not happening for me. By the way, 4 minutes until the deadline. Do hit me a favour before you leave, lads. Again, really appreciate the 250 of you that have joined me this stream. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. Do hit the like button and subscribe though before you leave. And it's been another amazing stream. Hope to see many green arrows this game week. And I hope I've helped you out in some way, shape or form. Livermento or Burn up Ireland. Livermento or Burn? Burn for me. Choice says Oscar, would you do Sarr to Paqueta and Diouf to either Lecree or Senesi? I already have Richards. Yes, I would bring in Lecree. Paqueta's not a bad move as well. Salah, Gakpo or Ekatike as captain. Either of those, but I'd go Salah. Would you rather Spurs win the league or the boy chocolate matcha with a Labubu? Oh, what in the brain rot is going on? Great energy on the stream, Shy. Best streamer as usual, says Robert. Appreciate it, Robert. Yeah, let me quickly do a little scroll on the timeline so you guys don't miss anything. Bear with me. Great stream. First time here. Thank you, Lars. Appreciate the kind words. Okay, it's just teams. Doesn't look like we're going to get many leaks this season in general. But yeah, everyone's pretty much locked in, lads. 2 minutes until the deadline. Semenyo and Richarlison or Gyökeres and Dewsbury Hall? This game week... Gyökeres and Dewsbury Hall is hard though. Lecree is diabolical pronunciation. Oh, what do you want to call him? Okay, fair. No, I hear people pronounce it different, but I don't care. Phoenix with the subscription. Thank you, Phoenix. Thanks for a good stream, says Tough. Good luck with all. See you next week. Yeah, see you next week, lads. Don't leave just yet, though. We might get something, and I want to keep scrolling. Stay around for just a second. Voldemarte or Barnes? Voldemarte. So, move Pedro for -4? No, not for me. What's the thought process on Barnes over Elanga? I would prefer Barnes if he's starting in front of goal, personally. How much nailed is Tosin? I expect him to start. I wouldn't say he's nailed, though, by any means. Yeah, he's brilliant at football, I agree. We're just about there, lads. Do put your teams under my Twitter post if you haven't already. VVD or Anderson? VVD all day. Easy. All day. So tempted to remove Nori for a -4. If you have no other starting 11 player, I would do it if it's for Minoz. VVD or Anderson? VVD. Start or bench Palmer? Probably bench, unfortunately. I didn't tell you to do that, though. We have 1 minute until the deadline, lads. Do get your team locked in. Good luck, everyone. Is there a concern around João Pedro? Slight concern, for sure. I would definitely be slightly concerned. By the way, let me make sure my team is locked in. And the captaincy armband is actually on the right person. And the voice captain is on Gakpo. I'm happy with that. Okay. Best of luck, everyone. Another amazing stream. I'm going to close it up in just a minute. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, another amazing stream. Happy to do these. And I hope you guys are checking out the weekly video if you can. And again, do support the channel before you leave. Hit that like button and subscribe. Again, really, really enjoyable. And I hope you find it useful. That's the most important thing. I hope you guys get the slightest bit of use out of these streams. I'm not asking you to listen to me. I'm just happy to be here. And it's glad to be back that we have football. So, I'll leave it there, lads. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And as usual, lads, I will see you in the next. You